All right, man, so we got some news for the run here. Let's start off with actually college football. So to give you a quick little recap of the championship game, Ohio State, they put BTA to Notre Dame. They took care of business, and Ohio State is your 2025 college football champions, man. They won a national championship again. You know, the last one, 2015? Something like that. But yeah, man, shout out to Ohio State. They took care of business. I didn't think the game was all that great. Just from a play standpoint and also a coaching standpoint, Notre Dame could have did a couple of things better on their behalf. But, I mean, hey, the better team won. And shout out to the path that Ohio State had in terms of getting to the championship and actually winning. I mean, had to play Tennessee, beat them. Oregon, beat them. Texas, beat them. Like, come on, man. They literally showed they earned it. They beat the top dogs of almost every conference, and yeah, man, they earned it for sure. They definitely earned that. So shout out to Ohio State for winning that national championship. Anyway, look, so in the NFL, there's a lot of different news going on because people were fired, people were hired, all kind of different things. Starting off, the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson, has joined the Chicago Bears as a head coach. Now, this is a new look for the Chicago Bears. A lot of Chicagoans are loving it because they've seen the creativity that was there with Ben Johnson as he was coaching that Lions offense, and they're hoping because the Bears have a solid offense that they can make something happen just as much as the Lions did. Got Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, the other receiver, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift. Like, they got a lot of talent over there in Chicago with the Bears, so a lot of Bears fans feeling optimistic coming into this next season. But don't trip because, you know, last year, Bears did the same thing. They had the hype of the offseason, the highlight of the offseason, bringing over Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, drafting Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, but yet they still didn't do anything. So we've seen this hype before. But it's just on the Bears, man. I don't know why. Somehow they always tend to just mess something up. Even though it's a great situation, perfect situation, it's just what they do. Anyway, so the New York Jets, they've hired Aaron Glenn as their new head coach. And Aaron Glenn, he's best known for calling the defense for the Detroit Lions over the past few years. Now, reports later came out that a big reason Glenn chose the Jets over the Saints, he had offers from the Saints as well, was because the Jets were willing to let Glenn be involved in the process of hiring a new GM. So, I mean, hey, that is a huge deal breaker. And shout out to Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. Hopefully they can turn something around over there. There's plenty of talent over there in New York on that side of New York. So, I mean, hey, they should be able to make something happen. And as far as the Lions, man, they losing all the coordinators, losing the position coaches because Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn want their guys there. So, I mean, hey, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Anyway, so the Jacksonville Jaguars, they fired their GM, Trent Baalke, and he's out of there. And now because the Jaguars fired him, they're getting a lot more interest of bringing in new coaches who are actually solid coaches and have some interest in coaching the team. But right now, it's rumored that the Jaguars are going to hire Robert Saleh as their new head coach, the former coach of the New York Jets. And nothing has been confirmed, but the latest set of reports has been said that the understanding around the league is that the Jacksonville Jaguars have Saleh as a favorite to become the new head coach. So shout out to Saleh if he does end up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that would be dope for them. And I mean, I think he didn't really get a fair deal with the New York Jets, but it was a lot of dysfunction going on there. And, you know, it kind of starts from the top of GM. If the GM isn't, you know, really putting things in order, then it's going to be hard for the coach to get things in order, and as far as the players as well. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they brought back their offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. He had a lot of interest around the league. The Jaguars was actually one of the teams he had interest in, but he removed himself from interviews just because this was prior to them firing their GM, Trent Baalke. But however, amongst all of that drama that was going on between the Jaguars trying to fire their GM and Liam Cohen removing himself as a candidate for the head coach, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ended up bringing him back on a higher salary. But it was reported from Jordan Schultz that head coach Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really advocated to ownership about bringing back Cohen as the offensive coordinator. And I mean, this is lovely for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, I mean, Cohen has been having that team rolling. I've never seen Baker Mayfield play so great. And I mean, yeah, even to beat down as many guys as they were on the offensive end, they still made it work. So shout out to them. definitely a great move for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, there is some trade rumors also in the NBA that was going on. Jimmy Butler, I know he's a fan favorite for a lot of people, but it's clear that he wants out of the Miami Heat. Now, the trade deadline is coming up. I think the trade deadline, again, don't quote me, maybe February. It may even be before, I think. I think it's coming up in like the next week. It's a couple weeks after the All-Star break. So like February 20th, I believe it is. But anyway, Jimmy Butler, it's clear he wants out. He's made it evident in interviews. He's made it evident in different statements he's released. He's doing any and everything he can do to avoid playing basketball with the Miami Heat. He allegedly missed the team plane to a flight for a game on purpose, or a team flight on purpose. And yeah, he's getting fined for that, but allegedly he did it on purpose. But we don't know. We probably won't ever know the true intent, but expect Jimmy Butler to be somewhere else at the end of February. Now, Pistons have been rumored to try and reach out for Jimmy Butler. Not sure. I know Milwaukee Bucks is also in deals of trying to get Jimmy Butler. The Phoenix Suns are also in talks of possibly getting Bradley Beal gone in a 3-team deal to bring in Jimmy Butler. It's really all over the place of where Jimmy Butler could land, but obviously, Jimmy still has a lot of value to bring to a team, but I can't see many people really wanting to spend that much money on Jimmy Butler, considering he's almost on the back end of his career. So, but yeah, shout out to them, man. And hey, the Miami Heat, they got to get it together. Anyway, so look, man, here's what we're going to do, because the NFL got some great games coming up. Conference games here. And let's start with the Eagles versus the Commanders in the NFC. This is going to be a very, very great game. I'm hoping it's a great game. Obviously, as you all know, we've seen Jayden Daniels just on a complete tear since probably the last 3 weeks of the season. He's been killing it. I know he beat Atlanta, he beat Tampa Bay, he beat Detroit, and now he's about to go on the road to Philly. And as great as this is probably the best defense he's gonna play, Jayden Daniels and the Eagles. But man, I don't know, man. I don't. It's gonna be a huge test, because Jayden Daniels is one of those guys. We've seen how dynamic he is. We've seen him make accurate throws, and we've seen him, most importantly, limit his amount of mistakes and turnovers. That's probably been the biggest thing to me that stood out from him as a rookie, is his ability to limit the turnovers when he's throwing the ball and throwing in these tight windows, man, because that's not an easy thing to do. We see a lot of players still struggle with trying to fit the ball in small spots and get it to their favorite guys and all of that. But I mean, Jayden Daniels has been killing it. And I think, if anybody is going to actually be able to test this Eagles defense, it would probably be the Commanders offense. I mean, you got to give Cliff Kingsbury his credit. We joke about him not being able to really hold it up a full season and, get things done. But damn, man, Cliff Kingsbury done had this offense rolling. They got Zach Ertz. I mean, you would think Zach Ertz was in his prime playing with Jayden Daniels right now. Damn it. So Eagles, yeah, that's an elite defense. They're a number one defense, great run defense, great pass defense, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, you got to play the game. And when guys are cooking up different schemes, you just never really know what can happen. And as far as the Eagles side, one of the things I would try and really zone in on, if anything, is if you can, try and avoid bringing the pressure to Jayden Daniels as much as the Lions did, because, and maybe they'll limit it in a better way. But in that game that I watched against the Commanders in Detroit, I seen the Lions bring a lot of pressure, and they got burned by it every single time, just because they were in cover 0 or it was in a different type of a man coverage, cover 1, whatever the case was. They got burned every time they blitzed, and I would hate for that to happen to the Philadelphia Eagles. Actually, I probably wouldn't hate for it to happen. I would be okay watching the Eagles lose, but anything can happen, man. These teams split a game in the regular season, and I think aside from all the bad talk of, the Eagles won't be able to hold the offense and the Eagles don't have enough offense, I think either way it goes, it's just in these division games, you never know what can happen. Most people might anticipate a high-scoring game, but with it being a division game and these teams seeing each other so much, you really don't know how it may turn out. It could be a blowout. It could be a close match. It could be a chess match for all we know. It could be a field goal kickoff, but we just don't know, because when teams see each other so often, you're aware of the little things. You're just aware. It's tough. It's tough to beat opponents that you see all the time. No matter if they got new schemes, anything. You're just so used to playing them. But as far as the Eagles, They got to hone in on that run game. And I believe they will. I think the Eagles will stick to the run game and really try and pound the rock, because we've seen them really dominate the Rams in that aspect of pounding the rock, and it helped them get to a victory. Saquon Barkley had his 2 huge touchdowns toward the end of the game, one that sealed it, one that really boosted the momentum and helped them get ahead. And as long as they continue to keep that same mentality of run first, I think the Eagles will be straight playing the Commanders, and they will probably end this game on top. But the thing is, you definitely can't let all the media noise get to you, because the media is going to clown. They're going to just act a fool about how Jalen Hurts isn't throwing for this, what Jalen Hurts isn't doing. But the thing that most people forget when they talk about what Jalen Hurts isn't doing and why Jalen Hurts can't throw for this and he's missing these throws, they're not passing the ball. All they're doing is handing it to Saquon Barkley. The main thing that people miss is, above all, Jalen Hurts is winning games. And I think at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the most important thing when you're the quarterback of any team, is winning ball games, right? Exactly. That's better than having a high completion percentage. That's better than having 300 yards if you lose. None of that stuff matters if you're losing games. And Jalen Hurts has not been doing that. He's been winning ball games. So you got to give that man his credit. And I think, hey, the Eagles will end up winning this game too against the Commanders. I'm riding with the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Commanders for sure. Anyway, so the other game here, I think it'll be a great matchup, and this is going to be must-watch TV as well. Chiefs versus the Bills. Woo-wee. Man, I think I let y'all know on statistics a little bit ago. Chiefs are 3-0 in the playoffs against the Buffalo Bills. Each time the Bills somehow seem to beat the Chiefs in the regular season, Patrick Mahomes goes on to win a Super Bowl. This is also facts. This is not me just talking. This has happened over the last 4 or 5 years. Whenever the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, the Chiefs went on to win a Super Bowl. And people are wondering, like, if this is going to be the time, if this is the game where Josh Allen and the Bills can actually beat Patrick Mahomes. We've seen so many different matchups between the two where it came down to the wire, and I'm almost positive that this game here is going to come down to the wire. I haven't really checked the spread on it, but I bet you it's probably a bogus spread, just because I'm sure the books know it's going to come down to the wire. And going with this, man, the tough part about it is Chiefs are in Arrowhead. They're at home. And not only when you play the Chiefs, you don't have to just beat the Chiefs. You also sometimes got to beat the refs too. I will say, I think the refs get a little bit too much credit sometimes. That game against the Texans, it wasn't really as crazy as everybody made it seem. People love blaming the refs for the Chiefs. You had players blaming the refs, and I think it was just soft. I think that aspect of it was just soft, man. Players blaming the refs for it? Nah, man. Sometimes it can be blown out of proportion. I've also watched the calls where the Chiefs are getting away with some stuff. I've watched the calls where the Chiefs are getting these bogus calls in their favor, but some of them aren't blatant missed calls that's impacting the game. Now, if we go here and we watch this Bills game and we see a bogus PI that gives the Chiefs a game-winning field goal, then all right, all right. Now I can hear all the complaints about everything. But other than that, if it's a fair game, if it's a call that was in the first quarter that possibly helped the Chiefs gain 10 yards or a first down, I know every inch matters in the game of football, pause, but I don't want to hear anything about, why the Chiefs are cheating and how the referees helped them out. As long as they win in crunch time without the referees' help, it shouldn't be any debate about it. And I think in that game against the Texans, that was the case. They held on to the ball, they played smarter, and they buckled down and won the game in crunch time. So Bills matchup, I'm looking forward to it. I think the Bills, man, it's just going to be a battle. This is going to be a battle for both of these teams. Chiefs, Bills, it's no right or wrong information I can share that's going to, favor the Bills. I think anything that I do in terms of projecting some stats upon y'all of how it's going to favor the Chiefs or how it's going to favor the Bills, I think that's just silly. I think it's silly because you just truthfully don't know with these teams, man. Mahomes and Josh Allen both been on a tear. Mahomes mainly in the playoffs, but Josh Allen playing at that MVP level. His team is playing solid. The defense is struggling, but both teams got some aspects where they are struggling. Chiefs defense is elite. Maybe they stop the Bills offense a lot, and who knows? But all I can say, it's must-watch TV. Must-watch TV. You definitely got to tap into that Chiefs Bills. That's going to be a game. I'm super excited to watch that one. I'm gonna have to fix a bucket of popcorn for that one. Anyway, look, man, I'm gonna leave y'all with this here because that's all I got. I'm leave y'all on a positive note, and the positive note is just gonna be dedicated, man. Be dedicated, commit to what you're gonna commit to, and just be honest with yourself about it. Simple as that. Accept that however you want to accept it. I don't even think I'm gonna explain all of that because it seems pretty simple, but yeah, accept it however you want to accept it. Send this to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, coworker, friend, anyone you know who enjoys sports. I promise you, they are not gonna mind that you sent this to them. Worst case, they just not gonna listen, bro. Whatever. Like, big deal. Other than that, man, I'll be back later on next week. And we gonna get the recap of the Chiefs, Bills, and the Eagles, Commanders. Man, I'm excited. I gotta bring on a guest for that one. That's gonna be, I'm really excited about that. But other than that, man, that's all I got for you guys, man. And we'll be back later on next week. And so on, and so on, and so on.